everybody. Welcome to another episode of Revolution Talk. My name is Zeta Ceti, and we are here live at MJUnpacked 2023 here in New York. I'm here with Mary Bailey, co-founder, managing director of Last Prisoner Project. How are you doing, Minute?
I'm doing so well.
Awesome.
I'm really thrilled to be here.
Yes. Are you having a great time? Is it all good?
I love MJUnpacked.
Me too.
It's one of my favorite conferences. I feel like Kim and George do such an amazing job of really facilitating really impactful conversations.
Yes.
And it's always so nice to reconnect with colleagues in the industry as well as meet really new, amazing folks.
Right. So Last Prisoner Project, I've been following you guys ever since the beginning, doing some amazing work in this industry. Tell our audience a little bit about what Last Prisoner Project is.
Yeah, so we're a criminal justice reform nonprofit. We're bipartisan. We want to work with the powers that be, specifically to release cannabis prisoners and then help them with their reentry. So it's really important that it's hard to get back on your feet after serving a sentence for cannabis. So we do have reentry grants, and while prisoners are still incarcerated, we put funding onto their commissary accounts. We also match them with pro bono attorneys to help them with their release efforts.
Awesome. And then also do expungements, I would imagine, too, as well?
Well, our goal is to wrap the record clearing in with the release. That's our goal. To be honest, there's so many other organizations that focus on expungement.
Okay.
So we really try to stay in our line and stay in our lane for that and really focus on release efforts.
Release efforts.
There's tens of thousands of people who are still incarcerated for plant medicine. And we feel really strongly that anybody who has or is currently incarcerated for cannabis, that they're actually the trailblazers of this now legal industry. And so it's really up for all of us to work together to advocate for their release.
Yeah, it's just completely not fair that all of us are out here enjoying this time and they don't even have their own freedom because of this reason, because of draconian laws, wherever it may be. And it's all about education, right? So I've always educated a lot of law enforcement all across the country around this, especially new states coming in, like these new states that come in and try to educate law enforcement because they're just pre-programmed by the drug war. Everybody's pre-programmed by the drug war.
Which has been a war on people.
Yes, absolutely. So do you guys have like chapters set up all across the country, or how does it work?
No, so we are a national org. We have a staff of 14 currently.
Okay.
We are all working remotely. So I live in Hawaii, our executive director lives in Connecticut. We're spread across the country and we make it work. So we don't have chapters. Basically, anybody that wants to see if they're eligible for our services, usually it's the family members of cannabis prisoners, they can go onto our website, fill out our legal intake form, and once they're deemed eligible, they enter into our legal and advocacy program, where they get matched with an attorney, they get added to our letter writing program, they are able to receive commissary funds from us, and also their children are eligible for support grants as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so through our grant program, we've helped disperse over $2.5 million in grants and those grants are going directly into the hands of impacted families.
That's amazing. So it actually supports the families too, not just the person that's incarcerated, but also their families, because a lot of emotional distress and issues with that as well, trauma.
It is so traumatizing. What we say a lot and what I've experienced working with the families is that when one person goes to prison, the entire family goes to prison in one way or another. That ripple effect of trauma runs really deep. And what we talk about is the collateral consequences of a conviction. Of course, it's affecting the entire family while that person's in prison. Their children are now in single parent households. They're not getting that support that they really need. And then once the prisoners are out, those collateral consequences continue.
So let's talk a little bit about the reentry programs or grants, or which you mentioned earlier. So is it that you guys help with getting jobs, I guess training around the jobs? Is it specifically cannabis, or is it everything?
We only work with cannabis.
Cannabis, okay.
Yeah, we don't blur those lines. And what we do is we partnered with some educational, we work with Oaksterdam University, Trimechrome University, Flower Media, and basically they have given us scholarships if the returning citizen is interested in entering the legal industry. We want to set them up for success because there are tens of thousands of people that we're trying to help. We're not situated to also be like an employment recruitment firm, but we have partnered with amazing folks, cannabis team, and they have members of their team who help with like with interviewing skills. They help our constituents update their LinkedIn profiles.
Oh, wow, okay.
All the little things you don't really think about, but when someone is in prison, sometimes for decades, they need help getting back on their feet with technology.
Yeah.
So, and this is something I really talk about a lot. Most people don't realize there are people serving life sentences.
So crazy.
And it's not, these are not old cases necessarily. Some of them are old cases and they've been in for decades already. This is still happening. In Louisiana, Kevin Allen recently
Heard about this story, yes.
got a life sentence for less than $20 of cannabis. And this was just a few years ago.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and yes, they consider him a habitual offender, but the first 2 strikes were also nonviolent drug charges. He's not a violent criminal.
Right.
And so some of the most egregious cases are definitely happening in the South.
Right.
We also know that people of color are up to 4.5 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis, and someone's arrested for cannabis every 90 seconds to this day.
That's wild. That's a wild statistic. I mean, even to this day, it's 2023, guys. I mean, it's legal not only in places in our country. I mean, obviously, it's not illegal federally, but all across the world, right? It just doesn't make sense to have these draconian laws in place. And this was back in the day when all these different countries decided to create their own Controlled Substances Act to cause this, really, truly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really just a mind change in terms of programming, you know, in terms of changing, you know, through education, through those mediums, and understanding that both law enforcement all the way down. You know, law enforcement can be our friend around this. You know, and politicians need to make an adjustment to this too.
Definitely. And so, more recently, we've started our Pardons to Progress campaign.
Okay.
We've created a really simple platform where individuals can go onto the website in less than 30 seconds. They can fill out a very simple form, and it automatically sends a letter to their governor calling upon them to release all cannabis prisoners in their state. Because almost every state governor has the ability, with a stroke of their pen, to grant clemency or release for prisoners.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Just like just grant clemency, just like that. There's no like congressional or anything like that that causes them not to do that. So this is all really politics.
It really is.
Truly.
And so we really, part of what we do is advocacy, of educating the public. We work with a lot of really amazing celebrity ambassadors, and really the way that we work with them is to utilize their platform to educate the masses. There's a misconception that when a state goes legal, people are automatically released. If people aren't, we have to clearly explain that is not happening. Unless it's built into the legislation, when a state goes legal, people are not released. That's not happening. So that's a big part of what we do, is just really creating more awareness.
So let's talk about how, like, you know, the world can support your organization. What are the different levels and ways of support that we can actually overcome this challenge of just discrimination and terrible policy?
So first of all, donations.
Okay.
We can't do our grant program, we can't run our programs if we cannot fund them. So any sort of donation is always really helpful. We're a 501c3, any donations are tax deductible. The second way, if you're a cannabis company and you want to get involved, the best way is through our partnerships program. We've got 2 programs. One is Partners for Freedom. There's different levels of corporate incentives for different levels of donation. All you have to do is go to our website, fill the very simple intake form, and we'll send you more information. The second program is called Roll It Up for Justice. It's specifically for retailers. It costs no investment to be a part of the program. Basically, we help you integrate into your point of sale system so your customers can donate at checkout. The really amazing feature of that program is that not only does it raise funds so we can do the work that we do, it creates awareness. It reminds people that while they're buying legal cannabis medicine, there are people incarcerated for doing basically the same thing. So it really creates more awareness for the issue, which is really important. Then outside of those programs or donating, there's so many other ways people can get involved.
Right.
Go to our website, go to our Take Action page. It lists all of our current campaigns. All the campaigns have simple click items that you can get involved, whether it's writing a letter to the powers that be. We've got simple scripts. We include the emails. You can literally cut and paste the script. There's phone numbers where you can call. We also have social media infographics that you can download and share from your own platform. Create that ripple of awareness with your own friends and family and followers.
Right.
And then my favorite program is the letter writing program. Most people are like, send a letter to somebody? Well, if you're stuck in a cell for a decade, receiving a letter from the outside world reminding you that you have not been forgotten.
Right, that's
There
huge.
are people that know your story, that care about your story, that are fighting for your freedom. It really helps the prisoners regain the hope that they need to keep going. So we've made it really easy. We've got prisoner profiles, so you can learn about the prisoners before you write to them. You can actually write the letter on our website. We will print it and snail mail it for you. And because prisons are really dangerous places, when they go on lockdown, they don't have access to call their family or to send an email on their old jankety computers. And so they're still able to receive these snail mail letters.
That's
so
great.
That I have pen pals, and I cherish the friendships that I've made with these cannabis prisoners. But if people don't want to have a pen pal situation, you don't have to. You can just send an anonymous letter.
Yeah.
Just to remind them that you're in the industry, you think it's wrong that they're still incarcerated, and you're going to do everything you can to help support Last Prison Project's efforts to release them.
Well, let's support that. Mary, thank you so much for being on the show. This is Revolution Talk. Make sure you support Last Prisoner Project. Very important work that needs to be done. We need to free these people. Thank you guys so much.